I am not from politics. I am from industry. We do simple things, much simpler things. We do projects, we build roads, we build factories, we find people jobs. And I can talk about the fact that my company, as a global company, has delivered, and we are proud of this. You mean to say CITD then, who did the valuation of this project, is a co-conspirator? You think KPMG, who wrote it in the State of India report, is a co-conspirator? You think so everybody is a co-conspirator. I mean, I feel like laughing, or maybe crying, something, I feel like doing something. I can't just keep quiet. Ma'am, I cannot answer this, but I think you as a media have all the rights to ask the question. I can only say that this project and the tenure of the company that I represented, the partners that I represented, despite what has happened to me, my only regret is why did I even do this? But aside of that, the personal regret aside, I am proud of what we did. It was one of the most successful things that we did. The enwrapping vision of the government that was wrapped in front of us, which was all-inclusive, which was going to find, and I remember the Honorable Chief Minister at that point of time saying, and if I can quote his words as much as clearly as I can, he said, when we did Hyderabad, not all people who got trained to do IT in Hyderabad worked in Hyderabad. They went all around the world. They became the state's ambassador. He used the word, I remember that word, few words. He said they became the state's ambassador. We will want to do the same thing. The people who get trained over here may not all find job in the state of Andhra Pradesh, but they will become the state's ambassador wherever they go and work. And that will bring people, if people know that this is a place, this is like a mine out of which diamonds are come, or such employees can come out, they will come in and invest. Kia Motors, when it went in to invest in Andhra Pradesh, we were honored to train, the centers were honored to train also their people. They were amazed. They have gone on record in saying how wonderful training, and it's a global company, the training that was given to their people. And it co-affirmed their position of investing in Andhra and making those cars out of Andhra. I can only, as I said, I can only talk about, I don't want to get into conjecture, because it's sub judice. And plus, it's not fair on me. I only want to say the facts. I want to first make a point that why I have decided to come in and speak to all of you. Despite the fact that over 2 years, the amount of personal and family harassment that we have had, and anybody who has even not got through it, I don't think anybody can imagine what this harassment means when the state comes after you and on charges which are completely baseless. And I'm going to talk about it today. But the more reason why I came out today is because, unfortunately, due to the recent developments regarding this case, my name is all over, and which is impacting, as a professional, the only thing that we earn in life is our reputation. That's the only thing that we have earned in our life. And my reputation has been smothered. My family is going through the coals, been driven through the coals. More importantly, I'm seeing what's happening to the industry, because I have my industry friends who are calling up and saying, why should anybody be doing such projects with anybody, with the government? Because if this is what the outcome of these things going to be. And last but not the least are the 213,000 students who are out over there, who have been trained, certified, doing jobs, and their certification is now being brought into question. It is not an individual versus individual. I could have taken the beating. My family could have taken the beating. But when I look at and when I see the amount of people who are contacting me on my personal media and asking for a statement, I thought it's important that I come out, and I've never done this before, so I would love to take your indulgence to listen me through and pose me your questions. I'm going to strictly talk about only the project, the role that Siemens played, the role that I played, and the successful implementation of this project. Let me give you a little background of this project. What's the reason of these projects? The reason of this project is twofold. One is industry downwards, the country downwards, state downwards, and there is a company upwards. What's the benefit for the company? Why would a company do such a project? Now, when Andhra Pradesh, for example, got bifurcated in 2014-15, the brief to us was that this part of the state has been primarily an agricultural state. When you're an agricultural state, unlike the other part of the state, where IT had by then got established in a big way, it was a primarily an agricultural state. Now, when you say industrial infrastructure, it is not about building roads and building corridors and building industrial lands. It's also about building the people who are going to work in that industry. You can't have an industrial infrastructure without people being ready in this state. And for an agricultural infrastructure state, this is an impossible task of impossibility. And that is what the vision of the state government was, which was told to us, based on which we did a market research, we found out the gaps, we aligned with the state government's industrial policy, and the entire scope of the project was decided. Based on this decision of the scope of the project, this project was designed to not just address the high end of the engineering skills, but also the mid-range and the low end of the skills. In the parlance of industry, it is called the white-collar, blue-collar, grey-collar, and rust-collar workforce. And that's the reason why there are Center of Excellences, there are technical skill development institutes, and so on and so forth. Established over 40 locations. Initially it was 36, it was extended without any change of any additional payment. It was extended over 40 locations, where over 200 plus labs have been set up. These centers span over 250,000 square feet and more. I don't know the latest numbers. And till 2021, 213,000 students have been trained, certified, and all their details are available in the system. In 2021, so the contract was to build, operate, and transfer. Build, then operate for 2 years, handhold for 1 year, and then transfer this at the end to the government. All of the phases has been completed. In fact, it took more than 3 years, not thanks to COVID. The center was additionally run. Handover wasn't possible. And in 2021, these centers were handed over. 40 booklets for each of these centers with complete stock register, co-signed by Design Tech, who was the system implementation for the project, with APSSDC representing the state government, and with the center head, which is the principal of the college, have been signed and have been handed over to the government. At the end of the successful implementation of this project had received letter of commendation from APSSDC saying, great job done. And this is, I'm talking about 2021. On the same 2021, the others, and this is, letter of commendation has come from the managing director of APSSDC, not some officer. I was not in Siemens. This is my after knowledge. 2018, I left. I had no understanding of what was happening. On the same 2021, there's another side of APSSDC, which, for reasons unknown, and I would be very curious to know what was the internal trigger, that while the managing director is giving a letter of commendation based on successful handover and successful completion of this project, would somebody want to come and do an investigation which never ever did a single visit of any of these centers and did any single verification of this project and said this project is bogus, based on which an FIR was launched, and rest is history. You all know what has happened. This is a big mystery, because it's pretty much like, the analogy that I want to give is that, you are investigating how a murder was done, how a person has been killed, etc., when the person who is supposed to be murdered is actually standing out over there. The person is actually standing out over there and you are investigating how he was murdered, where is the weapon, etc. It intrigues me. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a professional. But it intrigues me that without even first, there's an Aesop fable that if the crow says that your ear has been taken, the first thing that you should do is put your hand on the ear and see if your ear has been taken. Don't run after the crow. This is something we have learned in the schools. Why something as basic as this was not done before these charges were riled up to say that this project is a bogus project, sham project, and then allegations, wildest allegations I can't even imagine, have been filed upon me and other people, and rest is all up to you. This project was so successful that KPMG, in its 2016 State of India report, KPMG Global in the State of India report, cites this project as an example and a case study of one of the most successful projects that could ever be done. All of that has been ignored. The detailed document leading to the project, which has all the reasons, it's like the whole scope document, which was a part of every conversation based on which the deliveries were done. By the way, I must tell you also this: the scope of this project was end delivery. It was not supply of products or hardware, software, etc. It was the entire scope. It was operational scope of outcome-based scope of training students to the industry quality that is required. That document has been consistently been not referred to, and that document has been consistently been not brought into picture because it clearly shows the level and the depth of which this project was envisaged and what this project has been delivered. And as you would understand, when you're talking about the scope as outcome, it is not just a bill of material. People who understand engineering, I would use an engineering word, it's also called the bill of process, which is the know-how, which in many people who talk about startup industry call IP, but it's the know-how, it's the knowledge, and there is a bill of services. All of this was envisaged in this project, and all of this has been delivered. Because otherwise, I'm simple. Look at the end result. If the end result is what it is in front of you, and the infrastructure that was used to deliver that is in front of you, that's what the project speaks about itself. And I can always say that this project, and as Siemens, the company that I led and I worked with, we led this project successfully with our partners and our ecosystem. There were hundreds of partners and ecosystem players who were engaged in delivering this project, and this project was done absolutely successfully.